You're listening to Allman in the Morning. Common Sense Radio.
Good morning, you bunch of drunks.
Good morning this morning. So I gave KT all kinds of crap last week because she ate a beef burrito on Ash Wednesday.
It was a bean and beef burrito. Never knew it was going to get me
And
so
then, though, lied to her mother about it. So she's like...
My mom's
You now have to be careful what you tell Jamie off the air.
know, Jamie.
Lesson
On
learned.
Ash Wednesday. So I make fun of her over that whole thing, and you know how diabolical an act that was. So Friday is the 13th birthday of my great nephew. He's great, not great nephew, like as in he's a great kid. Jacob, who turned 13, so we have his birthday party on Friday night. And I go, and before I tell you what I wound up doing, I will tell you that I am really easily lured into bad behavior. I'm just saying. I am what the Brothers Grimm, they were thinking of me when they wrote like Hansel and Gretel, because I'm totally Hansel. And if I were a girl, I'd be Little Red Riding Hood. I'm so gullible that I would probably wind up having to push the witch into the oven and kill the wolf. But anyway, but it would take a long while to get there. I'm every character in the Disney movies. Like if I were a girl, I'd be the Little Mermaid. I have to go and wander away and go on my own. Or Pinocchio. I'd totally be Pinocchio hanging out with
the Lost Boys.
The Lost Boys.
You'd be Aladdin though. He's so mischievous and he's quick with everything. Quick on his feet.
But he doesn't get lured into
That's
with bad
true.
people.
That's true.
And not bad people. So I'm not calling my relatives bad people because it's the exact opposite. Like Andrea is a saint compared to anything I could ever be, and all of her family is too. Okay, so her sisters are all like devoted, awesome Catholics, and her mom and dad, and So what happens? I go there, and they're making pork tacos. I'm like, because they're making it, and they're delicious, but they're making pork tacos, and can you eat those? Oh yeah, we can eat those. We spent the other day fasting and blah blah. And they were like making all kinds of
excuses or actual legit
excuses as to why. And of course, I bought it. But see, unfortunately though, I don't really have a lot of wiggle room to violate things that you're not supposed to violate rules. Like they probably do. They probably have probably built up so much.
Oh, you have wiggle
cred.
room.
So everybody ate the pork tacos?
Yes.
Okay.
Including me.
But they fasted? They said they fasted.
No, they had something they said that they wrote it. Well, blah, blah, blah. And I bought it completely.
You're like, sure.
Okay, I guess I'll have a pork taco. I had two on Friday. And believe me, I don't ever.
Can't you just not eat meat then on Saturday and it kind of can make
Well,
up
see,
for it
that's
or
their
something?
thinking.
I mean,
No, I didn't eat meat Thursday.
Yeah.
So it's like kind of like they're playing the shell game. But
I would
again,
so do that too.
they can do that, because they have. I'm like telling them, please don't do. I don't really have a lot of room here. You guys can violate whatever's going on. I can't.
My parents are the same way. They're very much like Lenten season happens. No meat on Fridays. They follow it. They're very studious with their Catholicism. I'm like, man. And I used to be that way too. And then I went off to college. Sorry, Mom and Dad. I went off to college, and then you just kind of forget about Lent. And now I'm home, and it's bringing it all back.
Bean and beef. So I felt bad about that, and of course showed you the pictures of the tacos, and then I was going to hell. But again, it's like I'm not. I'm not saying that these are bad people. I'm saying they're actually very good people who can do that.
Yeah.
I can't.
Yes,
but I did.
You can. You're a good person.
I'm just that kind of person. But anyway, I did, and so I have to take back all of my criticism or my haranguing of Katie for using the beef and bean burrito.
Act. You know what though? You admitted it though.
Right, I didn't like.
You send me a text message. Don't even.
I didn't lie. Like if somebody asked me, did you have pork tacos? I didn't say, no.
Get out of here.
You even took
Right.
photo proof. That
Yes, indeed. I'll put it out. I don't know. What should I?
Yeah.
No.
No?
No, the
Oh.
Archbishop's going to send out the
Yeah.
Swiss Guard and get me. Had an interesting debate last week with tomorrow is the mayoral primary. And, oh, by the way, speaking of other local stuff, at 8 o'clock we'll talk about this thing at Francis Howell. You guys probably know a little bit about this, about how Thrive has basically been kicked out of the schools. I love how the Post called them a Christian anti-abortion group, like they're the Klan.
Yeah, they're the worst.
You know,
They're the worst.
so we'll talk about that because it's hitting Parkway too. So we'll talk about that. But anyway, the mayoral date. Now I know you guys, a lot of you don't live in the city, but the mayor's race is important because as a part of the regional economy, the city is a big deal, and so it does matter. I know you can't vote, but the reality is, these candidates surprised me on a number of levels. One is on the like Lyda Cruzen, who is polling so far ahead. She apparently didn't feel like she needed to care enough to even show up at the debate, which is, I think, disrespectful.
Yeah.
And I realize that time is of the essence, but she said she was going to be there and then didn't show up. So, there's your potentially new mayor there who doesn't have to care.
She didn't even make one obligation.
And she has suggested this AR-15 ban in the city. So Jeffrey Boyd, who's an awesome guy, Tashara Jones, Antonio French, Lewis Reed, all, smart people. You can have your differences of opinion with them, obviously, on a number of issues, and I do. They're like high on the sanctuary city thing. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And they are, on a number of different levels, supportive of some initiatives that I just am not. They support that bill that protects women who over their reproductive rights and creates a separate class of them to not be discriminated against. Like, so a Catholic church has to hire somebody who's an active abortion promoter under their law, which will be struck down because it's unconstitutional. Anyway, so in the AR-15 ban, I was really surprised to hear them talk about this. Let's go with Jeffrey Boyd first, number 16 here.
No, I wouldn't sign a bill like that. As someone who has served my country for 23 years, the M16 was my buddy. And most people in the Army, it was their buddy as well.
I mean, that's a Democrat candidate for mayor right there, Jeffrey Boyd. Mm-hmm. And again, I'm not trying to be disrespectful in assuming they had a certain position, but you kind of do assume that a lot of Democrats have this anti-gun position.
Sure.
But Jeffrey Boyd didn't. Then Tashara Jones, here she is on it.
That is currently unconstitutional because the state has already passed gun laws stating that the city can't pass anything that is stricter than what the state already has.
Yeah, so she was very practical about the matter. Then Lewis Reed, cut number 19. Let's go to that Lewis Reed.
Lyda Cruzen, who didn't show up, but she has suggested the possibility of an AR-15 ban. She's not here to talk about it or expand on her idea. But just for the sake of argument, would you all support an AR-15 ban in the city of St. Louis, or any automatic weapon ban, or whatever it is they want to go for?
Sorry, I didn't know my question
How do you
was
feel
on there.
about that?
I don't think that cures the problem. I mean, it makes people feel good if you ban it, but people that are using weapons to commit murders and robberies, they're not. The last thing on their mind is whether it's legal to carry.
I mean, that's fantastic positioning there. These are Democrats talking like this, supportive of gun rights. I thought maybe you'd be surprised by that. Then we had Antonio French. A lot of you know him from his Ferguson days and don't like his activity during that time, and I understand that. But nonetheless, he's a pretty smart guy to a certain degree, and I agree with him on a couple of issues. Here's Antonio French's answer to the AR-15.
So Alderwoman Cruzen's bill is clearly unconstitutional and not legal in Missouri. The only reason she introduces it is to try to build some progressive cred before the election.
Yeah, so he's like, forget her on that. And he also said it's unconstitutional. And then on the other matter, on the earnings tax, Antonio French was the only one who said that he was against it, and he not earnings tax. I meant to say we wanted to. I didn't want the earnings tax. I wanted the answer on the on when they talked about whether or not the minimum wage. That's what I needed. I forgot to do that. Anyway, I didn't ask them for that. But anyway, the soundbite essentially was how I asked him, what do you think of the minimum wage? And all of them said, we need the minimum wage and the increase, because it did increase. And all these businesses in the city of St. Louis are like, what are we going to do? And you know what they're going to do, right? They're going to lay people off. You know that, right? Or businesses are going to choose not to be here. So Tashara Jones even said, well, if they don't want to pay their people that amount, then they can just go somewhere else. And we're like going, what? You're the mayor. You can't talk about business going somewhere else. So Antonio French was the only one who said, I didn't vote for it. And the reason I didn't vote for it is because we're the only entity with an increase in the minimum wage. The county doesn't have one. The state doesn't have one. So we've made ourselves an island and isolated ourselves. And now we're going to see the economic impact, and it's going to be horrible for us because we're the only ones. It'd be different if it was an increase all over the state or indeed even all over the country. But if we're the only ones, that's not sound economic policy. So that came from Antonio French, which I thought was
he had a very interesting,
commonsensical for sure.
Yeah, he had an interesting take on a lot of things.
All right, let's take a break here.